Heard Sarah say dumps a couple times. My name's Sarah Williams-Gleese. I own Sarah's Dumps with my husband, and the Low Country Local First team asked me to MC this. Who knows why? But here we are, after opening night last night. We out here. So thank you to Sarah and Taylor for that. I want to start every morning that way. So Taylor, if you could just record yourself doing that and then send it to me, that would be great. Thank you for that. This is the 12th annual Good Business Summit. So it's a dozen. So that's crazy. The cost of coming here was probably similar to the cost of a dozen eggs right now. So good for you for making that choice. That was an awesome guided morning movement and meditation activity. Definitely something that you can do in your car. I don't know, before a big meeting, after a long meeting or a hard day, going into maybe your home at the end of a long day, gearing yourself to go to the grocery store after a long day, running that last errand before you go home is maybe one of the hardest things in my mind to comprehend. That's just a solid piece of activity that you can take with you and make your life a little bit better. So I hope that you guys had a chance to eat this delicious food, drink some coffee, meet some new people. I feel like every time I come to a Good Business Summit, yes, there's networking, but there's so much good energy because people are either trying to do something new and exciting and great or leveling that up. And then there's, people like Sarah and her team that are at a point where maybe some of us want to be. And so don't be afraid to ask the questions, to shake the hands, to kiss the babies or whatever. So Low Country Local First, in case you guys didn't know, was founded in 2007, which to me was maybe 5 years ago, but turns out it was a lot longer because at that time, in case you guys don't remember, it was the time of low-rise jeans and bubble dresses and really thin eyebrows, where you would look at someone and you're like, are they there? Which apparently bleached eyebrows are in now, so who knows what's gonna happen. But anyways, at that time, despite those things, LLF started with this core mission of advocating around the benefits of a local living economy by strengthening community support of our local independent businesses. And I think it's safe to say, after this many years, that they're still crushing it doing that here in Charleston. So no matter the headlines or the shifting tides of politics, one thing remains constant is that inclusion is always in. And I think we can all vouch for the fact that when we're sitting in a space, in a room, looking at our circle in our lives, it's always better when people are different than us. If we're just looking at people and it's the same looking back at us, what growth is gonna happen there? So supporting diverse businesses, championing equitable opportunities, and fostering a community where everyone belongs isn't just a trend, even though it is very cool, it's a commitment that the team at LLF stands behind every single day. They believe that our economy grows and local businesses thrive when everyone has a seat at the table. That's why they continue to uplift all entrepreneurs, create spaces where all voices are heard, and advocate for policies that strengthen our entire community, like the work they did this past week. So today is the 12th annual Good Business Summit, and this is one of the ongoing signature events for LLF. No matter your business's industry or age, today will bring you new ideas, workable solutions for building your company with profit and purpose, because it's cool to do things we love, but it's even better when we can make money to buy those eggs. So I will tell you a little bit about my connection with LLF. So I've been a member of LLF because of my full-time insurance job, but 5.5 years ago-ish, it's October 2019, I made mandu, which is Korean dumplings, for a potluck at Local Works. And if any of you guys have been to Local Works, we love a good co-working space, but at the end of the day, whenever you're in an office setting, everyone's heads down, blinders on, doing the work. And I just wanted to know people's names. So I was like, let's do a potluck. We'll all bring a creative, world, ethnic style dish. I think someone brought German chocolate cake, whatever. So I made Mondu, and that was the first time I made it for people that I didn't really know that well. And so now today, 5.5 years later, we're supplying Mondu for 3 local restaurants, and we're in 9 local retailers, and it's just been such a fun journey for us. So that's with the support of, thank you. That's with the support of LLF, and it all started in the old RIP Local Works location in that little kitchen. And so now we're able to be part of a team here in the community that's partnered with LLF, that's bringing more awareness and support for the AAPI community here in Charleston, which is incredible, and we've all been to the restaurants, and we've supported the artists and artisans, and there just hasn't really been like a group of specifically for the AAPI-owned restaurants, artists, and artisans and creatives here in Charleston. So it's been exciting. It's a true testament to what they do here in the community and how they support and uplift people without question. You know, if you have an idea, you have a concept, you email them, you call them, they're there, right there with you in the hard days too. Okay, so some housekeeping items before we start our first session. The official hashtag for today is hashtag GoodBiz25, so use it and share. I had to edit my hashtag. It's not good business, okay? GoodBiz25, so post and hashtag so we can find you, or they can find you, we can find you. We'll have a quick 15-minute break at 10:45 after our first panel, so you can grab another coffee, meet someone new, drink your Diet Coke. I know some people don't like coffee. No judgment. A lot of judgment. There are restroom facilities downstairs and upstairs, so if you guys have questions about the bathrooms, you can just ask me. I'll tell you. It's fine. At lunch, we'll all enjoy delicious food from the amazing Verde and the fresh air outside, immediately adjacent to the music hall in Hudson Alley. So if you go out and you take a left and a left, it'll be out there. And then after lunch, the rest of the afternoon will be more of a choose your own adventure style. It's kind of like Squid Games, but like no one's dying. And you'll have the choice of attending one of 3 concurrent sessions at 1:30 and then at 2:45, so be like back to back. So we'll give you more info on that later. And then we'll come back together at Share House at 4 o'clock for cocktail hour, reflection, connection. You know, there's no shame in sharing business cards, but Sarah touched on this, like, be cool doing that, taking other people's business cards, but then do something about it. That's just like the initial glance, the first step in making like a real connection out of this type of experience. So all the bios for the speakers and breakout session descriptions can be found on our website, their website, goodbusinesssummit.org, or there's a QR code, which like we all love, and we have no flashbacks from COVID from these QR codes, but that's on your program, and that takes you to the speaker page. Okay, so last but not least, before we get to the first keynote, we'd like to thank all of our amazing sponsors and partners that make the summit possible. Top sponsors include Verde for lunch, U.S. Economic Development Association, and the Post and Courier. All of our other sponsors and community partners, including Addlestone International Corp., Charleston Magazine, GCM, Local Palette, OmniSend, Share House, and Tinto Cafe and Provision. Shout out to Zucchini Bread, you know what I'm saying? Others that make this event possible include Low Country Local First team and board of directors. Let's give it up for the LLF team. I mean, there's nothing else like this that happens in Charleston each year, and something we can rely on that doesn't happen in the middle of hurricane season, which we love. Charles, Zach, Mike, Nicholas, and the entire music hall staff has been great. And the awesome LLF members and supporters. So if you aren't a member of LLF, you might as well do it, because it'll basically pay for itself by the time this happens next year, and then you get the member rate instead of the non-member rate. So just do it. All right, so on to our first session. We've got our first keynote speaker, Dr. Lakeysha Hallmon, or Dr. Key, as a keynote, which is just perfect. So she's a mission-forward visionary celebrated for developing an economic vehicle that empowers the Black community through collective wealth. Since founding the Village Market in 2016, she has served more than 1,440 businesses and facilitated $8.3 million in direct sales to Black-owned enterprises. Can we get like a clap for that? I mean, $8.3 million. Her innovative village model integrates grants, mentorship, technical assistance, and a retail platform, setting a new standard for Black-owned businesses' success. Dr. Key's mantra, support is a verb, propels businesses from Atlanta to the Bahamas, turning big ideas into big profits. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Key to the stage.
Well, good morning, everybody. We can do better than that. Good morning, everybody. So listen, this would not be your typical keynote. I am going to talk, but you have to participate. We got it? All right, before we start, I need us to do something. I need everyone to stand up. And while you're standing, go ahead and stretch. Do that too. Go ahead and stretch. Get it out, get it out, get it out. I have this thing that I do every day and how I start my day. I always start in a deep sense of gratitude. So I always begin my mornings considering all the things that I have to be thankful for. So I want you to take a moment now, close your eyes, don't fall asleep, but close your eyes. And I want you just to do a roll call in your mind and let it come effortlessly. What are you grateful for in this moment right now? Who are the people? What are the things? What are the moments? What are the situations? What worked out far better than what you thought? What made you laugh out loud when you should have cried? What funny TikTok video helped you get through your day? As you finish your roll call, I want you to open your eyes. And as loud as you can, I want us as a group to scream out, thank you, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. No, that wasn't right. Come on now. I know it's early. Now, these are things that we're meant that made us grateful, correct? That's what we're saying thank you to. So we need way more energy than that. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Now I want you to give yourself a big hand for being here today. I want you to give your team a big hand for being there because iron sharpens iron. Big hand. I want you to give your family a big hand. I want you to give this community that you all occupy a big hand. And now I want you to look around the room, and it's awkward, but I need you to do it. I need you to lock eyes with some people. Yes, lock eyes. Not too long where it's weird. But I need you to lock eyes with a couple people, at least 5. At least 5. And I want you, don't talk to them. Nonverbal. Just give them a nod or a smile. Because this conference, this summit, wait, did we all do it? Did y'all do it? 5 people? Okay, good, 3 people. Somebody said 3. 5 people. Listen, y'all, this summit won't be and do what it's meant to do unless we take time to see each other. The power of community is in our ability to see each other. So we're going to do it one more time. And this time, you're going to do 6 people. And I want you to take a moment. You're not going to talk. You can give them a nod. You can give them a smile. But just take a moment to see them. Let's do it. The gift is in our ability to take a moment, see all the things that make us different, the different heights, the different hairstyles, the different styles, the different accents, whatever it may be, different zip codes. The strength is seeing that as our superpower. So we're going to do one more big hand clap, and then we're going to take our seats. But this big hand clap is for the power of this community that will be built and transformed in 2025. So it has to be a clap where you are already seeing the end of the year, and you're seeing the transformation of your business and community. You're seeing the transformation of this room and the relationships. You're seeing the transformation of Charleston because of all the things that make you different and unique and powerful. So I need a big hand clap, and then I can start my talk. Are y'all ready? On three. Now, don't. Okay, not that. Hold on. Big energy. All right? On three. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Now, that's what I'm talking about. You all have a seat. I stand before you today as a proud woman-owned business headquartered in the great city of Atlanta. But I tell people all the time, I'm from Atlanta, Mississippi. That's not a place. But my heart rests in two states, in Georgia and in Mississippi. Because Georgia, I got to mature into this woman that you see today. I got to mature into this business owner that had a dream for my business in 2016, this dream of creating a beloved village or a beloved community. But many years before that, I was a classroom teacher in the Mississippi Delta, and I taught high school English at the school where my father went. You already know it is likely I'm a daddy's girl. I'm also a mama's girl. May she rest in peace. But another thing that I got to see in Mississippi, I am very close to my grandmother. I remember summers growing up out in a cotton field. If you haven't been to Mississippi, it is hot and humid. But I spent many of my summers when I wasn't running outside, I was sitting under my grandmother's feet as she was sewing at her sewing machine. And what I got to experience as a little girl who was so shy, but who loved her grandmother fiercely, I got to see my grandmother build a business from a little sewing machine, watching Young and the Restless and The Price is Right every day. People came to my grandmother at some of the best times in their lives when they were getting ready to get married. They came to my grandmother when they were getting ready to go to prom for the first time. They came to my grandmother when it was a big church celebration and everybody needed the nice choir robes. Even the ushers and the deacons came to get things hymned for them. But also they came to my grandmother when they were rested in the bosom of grief, preparing to funeralize someone that they love. And what I saw my grandmother do, I didn't know that she was a business owner. What I knew that my grandmother was a carekeeper, was a dream keeper. And every single thing that she made, I witnessed her speak over every pattern, hold it up and say, now this is good work. Or put it back down and say, I missed something here. Let me go back and do it again. I got to see my grandmother. I got to experience her loving the gifts that she has. You all also possess gifts. And those gifts can materialize into businesses. But we often call ourselves entrepreneurs, small business owners, sheroes and heroes of the community. But did you imagine that maybe you were given the gift of creating a business because you were the keeper of someone's dreams, that you were the steward of someone's worst and best day? Did you imagine that your business is much more powerful than you generating profit? I want you to make it. But you are on a mission to be transformative for the city and all the surrounding areas of Charleston. That you're not just open for business, you are leaders and pillars in the roots of the goodness that comes from this community. So I want you to take a moment, and I want you to write in a new title beside your name, because I know the titles in life often make us define us. I want you to write a new title, that I am a gift carrier, that I am here created on a divine mission. Because what I believe in 2025, the years before, and the years ahead, I don't believe we're here just to be business owners. I know that this is a business summit, but I know and what I believe that we're here to answer a divine question about this time that we're currently in. So I want you to sit with, what am I supposed to respond to in this moment? In March 2025, in April 2025, in May 2025, what is this moment calling me to be? Where do I need to stand up? Where do I need to project my voice? Where do I need to take up space? Where do I need to be a disruptor? Where do I need to be fearless? Where, when I could totally be an introvert, it's time for me to exercise the pretend extrovert in me. I am telling you all that time is delicate, and time is a gift. And it's not by accident that you are created to be here in Charleston, South Carolina together in this moment. It is not by accident for 12 years this summit has been summoning good people. But imagine this year, in the 12th year, you're being summoned to do a powerful collective work together. And the only way that work can be done is how we started this, operating in high levels of gratitude. Because to be a business owner is to have the best and worst day in one email thread. To be a business owner, so much of the imposter syndrome can be so loud. And you say, but can I really do this? And it takes people that know you that say, absolutely you can. Do you know how powerful you are? And remind you of all the things you've already accomplished. To be a business owner is to know that you were given a vision. You uniquely were given a vision. It wasn't given to me. It wasn't given to Mara. It was given to you. And the question is, are you a good keeper of the vision? Are you going to ensure that the vision is colorful, powerful, fearless, and you would push the line? Will you make sure that your vision is so complete that it welcomes people in, all shades and all hues, all sexualities, all religion? Would you make sure that your business has open hands where you will embrace people and say, I just need you to come as you are. My business is a safe place for you. 2025 is the year that we rest in the divine assignments of the callings of our community. 2025 is the year that if you've had a dream, if you played it small, this is the year that you cannot. We can no longer play small. We can no longer build small. We can no longer be small. This time is challenging us, begging us to be illuminous in our light, to be lighthouses in community. I have a quote there, and it's one of my favorites. And if you all would allow the former teacher, forever teacher, to read to you. But as I read this quote, I need you to close your eyes, and I need you to digest the words that I am getting ready to read by the great ancestor, Dr. Martin Luther King. So close your eyes for a moment. I need you to digest the words. In a real sense, all life is interrelated. All men, or all women, is Women's History Month, are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality. Now imagine how we started. Imagine that you took a moment to see the people. And whoever the 6 that you chose, can you imagine? It was destiny that you chose that 6. And I want you to envision the people that you just locked eyes with, while so ever awkward. And I want you to tell them here and here that I can't be who I ought to be until you are who you ought to be. So every person that you just locked eyes with, every single person that locks eyes with me, I cannot be my full self until you are your full self. Our communities cannot operate in its fullness until every individual person rises up in our completeness. That is not a perfect past, and we're not perfect people. It doesn't mean we won't mess up a lot. It doesn't mean that we won't have to apologize and we won't have to continue to be a student of life. But what this truth says is that while I'm here, I'm going to give it every single thing that I got. That I'm going to pour into my team, that I'm going to pour into my company. And when I continue to excel, I'm going to reinvest in the community. Because even to be at a summit today, we operate and live in a bubble of privilege. To be able to be somewhere all day and have lunch provided and listening to people talk is a privilege. There are people who live far different from us who can never imagine a room like this, who can never imagine what it means to just sit and get to be cute and commune with people and handsome guys. I got you. As you build and as we build, as you become who you ought to be, you have to remember that there are people that needs to be and make sure that your bubble is widened and that we step outside of our bubble of privilege and know that whatever our existence is untrue for another person. How do we widen the bubble of privilege and truth and opportunity? I believe that we can do it in our businesses. My first company that I launched in 2016, the Village Market, all powered by women, with a few guys. I love y'all. But what I tell my team every day, and I have a nonprofit, Our Village United, and a beautiful the Village Retail located in Atlanta. But I tell my team that we're not in the business of helping businesses grow. We're in the business of being in relationship with people authentically. Every customer that you have, every contract that you win, these are people on the other side of it. And if you sell a product, this is not a consumer. This is a person that put their hard-earned money into your gift. How are we showing our gratitude? How are we constantly refining and improving our processes? How are we making sure that we're rising to meet the moments? And in hard times that hit any community, are our businesses a safe house? Are our businesses a safe place? Are our businesses a lot like my grandmother's small little trailer in the Mississippi Delta, but she'll be 87 years old next month, and she's still watching The Young and the Restless and Price is Right. And she told me to tell y'all, hey, because I talked to her this morning. Now, she cannot comprehend where Charleston is, but she said, hey. But what I learned from my grandmother as she sat at the sewing machine, she still makes quilts today, that it wasn't just a sewing machine. It was a place where people could come and be. Are your businesses that? Are you that with your team? Are you the leader that always stand up with the suit on? Or do you sometimes get off the stage and roll your sleeves up and allow the people that are alone this destiny with you, because it is destiny? Do you let them know that my feet are still bound to the ground and we are in this together? Because this is what time is challenging us to be, to bring the humanity back into our enterprises. We are being challenged to bring the humanity back into what we are building. We are architects of time. 30 years now and we will still look good. But 30 years from now, history will be written about Charleston. It will be written about the businesses. It will be written about you. As architects of time, what will you build? What is the mission? And how will you make sure that it is real? Will you be proud of what people will write? Or will you wish that you could actually go in and edit it because you didn't give it all you got? This is my challenge. This is my plea, because I know how precious it is to have a vision. I need you, 2020 vision, to go forth and prosper and bring people along with you in 2025 and carry them into the future. Every business open in Charleston is now a lighthouse in a world that often feels dark. Turn your light on so the community can know that there is a safe space to be with you. As a business owner, that is also my duty. So what I share with you, what I say on this stage today, is a creed that I live by, because I know that it's not by accident. It's not by happenstance that all you creative people had the audacity to open businesses, had the audacity to work alongside a startup, had the audacity to build a nonprofit, had the audacity to say, when I do well, a mission will be paired to it, because the wellness and all the great things must flow to me and from me back to the community. Now, as I close, another thing that I do when I close my day and throughout the day, I check into my body and I make sure that I feel good with the woman that is standing before you. I make sure I regulate my breathing. I affirm myself. I set my intentions. I go over my day. And all the things that I did well, I operate in high levels of gratitude. And I big myself up. And the things that I need to refine, I give myself grace. And I say, I'm so fortunate that there is a tomorrow. And tomorrow I will be a more refined version of who I am today. So I ask you, as business owners, be in the business of taking care of your mindset. Be in the business of taking care of your body. Be in the business of making sure that you're speaking good things to yourself as you build your enterprises. Because if you are good, the business will be great. But what we do not want is a great business and an unwell CEO. That is a grave imbalance. So think about profit, but also think about the profitability of your soul. Thank you all so much.
Can we give it a round of applause one more time? Woo. Raise your hand if you relate to everything she just said. Do you feel like she was talking right to you? Yeah. Okay, we've got a lot of good time now for questions. If you're feeling inspired, if you want to dig into a little bit more of anything she said, or if you're curious to hear a little bit more of her story, this is your chance. And I'm going to run around with this mic, so don't be shy. Yeah, go ahead.
You said you established Village Market 2016. Can you tell us about some of the things that you had to, as far as like starting that business in 2016, like hurdles or things you had to overcome with starting that?
Thank you for that question, Michelle. Did everybody get the question? So Michelle said, how are you still here and operating in 9 years? Y'all, I don't know. I launched a business, and I have three others now. But the hurdles of just starting, I had to learn how to be an entrepreneur. I was a teacher, and not just any teacher, a very good teacher by the way. And then I moved into administration, so I had to learn how to build a business. I had to learn. In the beginning, it was just me and some friends that volunteered. So I had to learn how to be an accountant. I had to learn how to be a social media manager. I had to learn how to act like I wasn't my assistant that's answering the emails. It was me. I had to learn all these things. But what I did, I began to sit with other founders and other entrepreneurs, and I would ask them the hard questions, not just how do you build today. I wanted to know, for the business owners in Atlanta, how do I make sure I'm here 10 years later? And what they shared with me was, and the speaker earlier said it, you have to make sure you're surrounded by people who's far smarter than you in certain things. And so I put in my mind, it's like, I'm a former athlete. So I said, oh, I got to build an all-star team. So I started to think about who's my all-stars. And my first hire was my attorney. My second hire was my CPA. My third hire, I believe, was a social media manager, but I can't remember. I then had to learn and work through the stress of people being reliant upon me. I don't know if you all have that weight of like, people are like depending on me for this to work out. So the fourth person I hired was my therapist to help me get through the anxiety of that. But I honestly built the business incrementally. I've understood incremental growth is powerful. So I just went person by person, operations by operations, system by system. And as we began to be able to build more, as I worked with 5 entrepreneurs, then I wanted to work with 15 entrepreneurs. Then I wanted to create a marketplace. Then I wanted to create an incubator. My incubator now is national, but we started with a small group in Atlanta. And I was very intentional with every business that I have. I've understood, and I know you all do as well, that I didn't want to take on more than I could operate in excellence in. I could do well with 5, and I didn't graduate to 10 until I knew that I had excellence in that 5. And I had to really build my schedule that made sense for me, my schedule that made sense for my team, and then I had strong KPIs. I have a very analytical mind, so I set goals for the team and said, we have to meet this goal, we have to achieve this. But I had a lot of, and I also self-funded the Village Market. So that was a hurdle as well. I could only invest in what I was able to bring in. So as I made money, I invested into the company. As I made money, I invested into the company. And I kept my full-time job at the Georgia Department of Education. I would take my savings on the side, and I would pay my staff from my savings after I paid my bills. Then I would pay the staff, and I would promise them that if you could just stick with me for a year and a half, I'm going to build the Village Market. I'm going to ensure that I can take care of you, but I need a year and a half. And in a year and a half, I was able to keep that promise. So it's been 9 years. I've learned so much. But the greatest growth was in how I had to grow and evolve. As a leader, I had to trust myself and I had to keep good people around me. Is that helpful?
Thank you. Great question. Yeah. Who else? Oh, Kip, I'm coming. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. I have a two-part question.
Okay. First, what's your name?
Kip. Kip. K-I-P.
Kip. Hey,
Yes,
Kip.
ma'am.
Okay, I'm ready.
First of all, what brought you out of the classroom and into the entrepreneurial space? And what do you think being a teacher has given you as an entrepreneur and helped you with? Because I know that's a very unique skill set.
Yeah. Kip, this is a great question. Purpose brought me out of the classroom. If you would have asked me 15 years ago what I wanted to do, I wanted to open schools all over the world. Very inclusive, disruptive schools that's centered on wellness and mindset for young people, social emotional learning. But I got the vision of creating the Village Market. Actually, I love going to festivals and marketplaces. I love farmers markets, things like that. But I would go to all these places in Atlanta, some of the bigger festivals, and the artisans who were setting up for the larger festivals, a lot of the people were not black. And I didn't understand if thousands of people are coming to Atlanta to participate in these markets, and Atlanta's a very diverse city, why isn't this diverse? That was the first thing that the little ding went into my mind. But remember, I was an entrepreneur, so I didn't even know why I was thinking about this. Then I went to another one, and then I was in Atlanta. There's a lot of entrepreneurs. And then I started to hang around these entrepreneurs. It's like, why are these people coming to my life? How do I know a DJ? How do I know an event owner, an event planner? How do I know these people? And the researcher in me, I began to ask them questions. Felicia Rose, or DJ Boogie, what we call her in Atlanta, I would say, Boogie, do you want to be a DJ full time? And she's like, yeah, I do. I said, well, how do you get to the place where you're DJing for a president? She would say, Key, I don't know. Ding. I told Boogie, I was like, I got this weird vision, but I don't know why I'm getting it. But I think I'm supposed to build a village for people like you. I think I'm supposed to build community for you. I think I'm supposed to help you, be a DJ for a president. I didn't know a president. But I can tell y'all, it happened. She DJ'd for a president. But this ding that kept happening, I write a lot. I wrote a book that y'all can buy today. But I started to write down these downloads that I was getting, that I'm supposed to create a village for Black entrepreneurs, and it has to be safe. The community, a very diverse community, needed to understand the mission. That's why I created Support as a Verb. And purpose was so loud that the feeling that I had in education, it just started to change. I didn't love it less, but I was different. It didn't fill my cup the way that it used to. And my cup has to be filled so I can know that I'm in tune and aligned. And when I finally felt another ding, I was like, I gotta build this village. I don't know what this is. I gotta build a village. And in 2015, I told my friends, I'm building a village. And by 2016, I built the village. In 2.5, 3 years, I outworked myself from my full-time job. But it was a slow breakup, because I was also grieving the person that I was. I was grieving the purpose that I did have at that moment in my life, being a teacher. And then I was also celebrating this business owner that I was growing into. But it was a tug of war for a long time. I did not want to be another teacher that left education. So what I asked God, for you spiritual people, you understand this, what I said to God, I was like, hey, if we're doing this, I still gotta have a classroom. And what I've learned, and what continues to be true, is that none of the skills are lost. All the things that we're doing in previous seasons of our lives is just preparing us for the next season. I do what I'm doing right now at least 3 times a week, sometimes 4. So I still have a classroom. It just looks different, and people are a lot older than my 11th and 12th graders. But I still get to teach. And the greatest gift that teaching gave me is that you can love people so deeply that it's not a part of your family. And I'm so grateful that teaching opened my heart to a deeper, a more radical, a more inclusive type of love. When you are a teacher that loves what you do, there are no bounds that you would take to make sure that your students have safety and that they can dream beyond wherever they may live. And that's my same belief and hope for entrepreneurs. So Kip, I still get to do the same thing. Y'all are just older. But I didn't lose anything. Everything that I did in education prepared me to be a business owner and an author now.
Awesome.
You all are making Jordan run.
Should have worn the tennis shoes. I'm going to let you pass it, Megan.
And then Jordan, she's next.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you so much. My name is Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I love the way you talked about your grandmother
Yeah.
and told her story and the metaphors and the insights that we sort of gain from that. And I'm curious in this community that you've built, if there's any, like a story of a specific business owner or a person that stands out to you that we could learn from. And I just like the way you tell the personal stories. Do you have anybody that stands out in your mind?
Yeah. You know who just popped in my heart? First, I'll tell you all about DJ Boogie. DJ Boogie now is one of the biggest DJs in Atlanta. When presidents have come to the city, she's DJ'd for them. I'm so proud to see her grow, especially when we were just sitting at coffee shops dreaming of the DJ that she would become. And she's a full-time DJ now. But one company, Savoir Faire, he's at my retail store, Chris Davis or Chris Classic online. I remember when Chris would pop up at my Village Market events, and he always just had this high attention to detail. Entrepreneurs, you know that so much of this time is built on us building experiences. We can't just operate like regular business owners anymore. It has to be an experience tied to it. People want to feel something. Chris has had that level of insight and detail to his business. He has a fragrance company for years. And now he is one of the most successful companies in the Village retail. He's now opened a showroom in Atlanta where he's bringing other scent makers into his space. But I believe Chris is so successful is because he always thinks about that extra attention to detail. He never skips a moment. It's the same thing that I saw with my grandmother when she may have missed a pearl and no one else saw it but she did. And the fact that she saw it, it was enough. Chris has that same thing. And to see him grow his enterprise and to see the way that he brings his family in and the way that he brings the community in, and now he has his own space and he's bringing other scent makers in, it's like he understands the mission. Because I don't think we're here anymore to just exist in this individualism. It's an Achilles heel for us. There has to be like a collective movement of what we're building. So when I think about Chris, I'm so proud of him, but he is doing so well because it's always that extra thing that he will make sure that it's done. And his customers for so many years now haven't forgotten.
Hi, I appreciate you coming to speak with us at this summit. So Tanqueray Edwards, and I wanted you to talk a little bit more about your book title. Your story you just shared about building the village, the attention to detail, but really community is a good lead into that question. Like, say more about no one is self-made. You hear that all the time, I'm self-made, but no one really is. So say more about that.
Great question. So the title of my book is No One is Self-Made. I'm an entrepreneur. Y'all are entrepreneurs, small business owners, or work with entrepreneurs, small business owners, or nonprofits. Typically, when you reach a level of success, the first thing that people want to call you is self-made. And I remember getting to a place in my career and I will get asked a question, or someone would tell me, "You are a self-made woman." And words matter to me. I would hear that, and I was like, but that's just not true. And so I would say very proudly, and I write about this in a book, I would say very proudly, no, but thank you, I'm village made. Because being self-made is a complete and total myth. While I understand the sentiments, I think it's said in a place of wanting to congratulate people who went a very different path. They haven't received a lot of handouts and all those things. So I know it's meant for good. But I also think that when we take these titles on, we begin to erase critical people from our stories. And I don't think any great entrepreneur, the intention is to erase the people who was your first assistant, who was helping you in Canva get your graphics together, who is helping you at the store when you know you didn't have money to pay them, but you gave them food. And all the people who didn't do any of those things, but the people that send you the text at the moment when you just absolutely needed it. Or they call you at the right moment when you're about to break down. Or the little cash app that you get and say, I just want, go buy you some lunch today, you need it. I think when we take on self-made, we tell all those people that you are not a part of this journey. And I do not think that that is our intention. To be entrepreneurs, we are deeply self-determined. You have to have a level of grit and intestinal fortitude to build something, to sustain it when it goes up and when it goes down. How hard it is to have a business that's customer-facing, where you can have a glowing review and somebody came in on the wrong day when whomever is working for you was not having the best day, and now it's on Google. We must, as we tell our stories, I intentionally start with my grandmother. I talk about my dad, as y'all saw. I talk about other people, because whatever great things that have happened to me, it's because of these incredible people. And I think as we consider the revolution that we're in now for entrepreneurs and small business owners, it is going to take the collective story that determines the outcomes of this time. Mm-hmm.
Mara, do we have time for a couple more? Yeah, okay. Over here. Ooh, you first, I'll come over there next.
And I'll be short.
I think you touched on this a lot. I'm Keela, by the way.
Hey, Keela.
You touched on this a lot about the importance of community and partnerships and connections. I'm curious to know if you could express more of what intentionality that you take with you in your approach to making sure you're having the right partnerships, or
Great question.
what it looks like for you to going through the process of figuring out who is for you.
Very, very great question. Another thing that I write about in the book is about that I only work with people who are mission aligned, as values aligned as I am. The intentionality that I take into every meeting, and this is a practice that I think will help. If you don't have it, I think it's a good practice to put in place. Before I jump on Zoom meetings, or before I even come to a summit like today, I set my intentions of how I want to feel and how I want to be received. And mostly, how I want to show up is authentically. But I set my intentions with my meetings. I set my intentions if it's a strategic partner. I've already done my research, not with just how we align with the KPIs and things that we want to do in the world. I have my team do deep research on how this business is actually showing up in community. Because when we partner with people now, we are now married to them. We are married to the things that they do great. We're married to the things that they did not handle so well. And so I set that intentionality, and when I get on calls, I always start with values. And my number one value is, how do you value people? And they give me like a definition, and it's like great pontificating. Then I say, give me the example of when you've done it. And I answered the same question because it's a relationship. The examples matter because we're so accustomed to having the mission statements that we say the thing. But if we're going to be in partnership, I need to know you've done the thing. And how you care about people and how you show up in business and community, those values matter to me. So when I'm getting ready to sign an agreement with someone, and let me be clear, every meeting, because I work with big corporate partners, I work with organizations in Atlanta, but a lot of corporate companies are like, I am on here to figure out, can we do this thing to serve more businesses? And I say, well, I'm on here to make sure that we can do this thing with more businesses intentionally. And so everybody don't want to have those hard conversations, but I'm in a place of my life that I set hard boundaries around the people who do not. And I have radical acceptance for the yeses and the nos.
Thank you. Okay, last question.
Hi, I'm Yura.
Hey, Yura.
My question is going to be, I always liken myself to say that what I'm going through right now currently is a grievance warehouse. I cannot satisfy anyone, everyone and all at the same time. So I want to know, how do you meter yourself? And when I say meter yourself, to be emotionally inclined to give this person this thing and that person that thing. What are you doing to make sure that you're not pulling from the well so deep that you have nothing to give back to the community, give back to your people, give back to the business? How are you metering your energy, metering your mind, your inspiration, and how are you staying in a place where you don't develop stagnicity?
That's a great question. Okay, this is the last one. Okay. So can I tell you what I did this morning? It was forever chilly in Charleston. And I did not bring a hoodie, so I was not prepared, but I still went outside and kept with my morning ritual of going for my walk. And while my headphones were on, I was not listening to anything. I was taking slow inhales in when I could actually catch my breath because the wind was something. But I was operating in a great sense of being present. I do this to ground myself. Another thing that I've done, it's a lot of pressure when a lot of people depend on you. And I've had that pressure in my career when I became a little bit more reclusive because every time I would go out in Atlanta, I'm the black business lady. And so if I go somewhere, they'd be like, that's that black business lady. And I would try to hide behind my friends because I just wanted to come to the event. And I remember telling my sisters, like, I don't like going out anymore. I just want to go and enjoy an event. I don't want to have to solve all the problems of the world. And my sister said, because you don't have to solve all the problems of the world. You need to begin to set boundaries between you and the mission. And my sister is older than me, but she's about this tall, y'all, so I'm the oldest. And when she said that, it was an aha moment for me. And luckily, every Monday, I also go to therapy. My therapist has helped me so much with setting professional boundaries, with also having my team structured that only the high-level things that they could not solve make it to my desk. Now we're in a world where the business owners are front-facing. People know the folks behind the business. I like that, but it's also hard. But me having degrees of separation between myself and the village market is not my identity. And I'm aware of that. Our Village United is not my identity. I'm aware of that. The village retail is not my identity. I'm just very fortunate to be the vessel to birth the thing. But I am Lakeysha Hallmon, or Key. And that is what I walk in every single day, because I can only put the pressure of myself being the best that I can be, but I don't even try anymore to solve all the things. I don't try to make everybody happy. I just try to always do what is right. And I empower my team And when something doesn't go as the way that we plan, I said, did you tell me your steps? Is there anything that we can refine? Is there anything that we can reconsider? Is there anything that you would do differently? And when they answer those questions, and I do this for myself, then I see when I get the next opportunity, how I would show up differently. But I give myself, and I hope you all do too, radical, radical love and grace. Because we are here in a human existence that we're given the gift and privilege to birth businesses. But those businesses are not our identities. Whoever we are, we're that person. We're not the businesses.
Thank you, Dr. Key. That was awesome. But you know, sometimes when you birth a business, you're like, can I just get that epidural real quick? Like, just like for a few minutes, like lay there, someone else takes care of it, just like take a little nappy nap, whatever. That was awesome. Thank you.